Hello, beautiful people. Mic check, mic check. How you doing? I'll tell you what, I completely forgot about this. Was not planning on having a live. As a matter of fact, I just realized that I forgot something. Un momento, por favor. All right. Sorry about that. I'm out of practice. It's been a minute. How y'all doing? Y'all have a good holiday and whatnot. Technology. Thank you for your patience. My apologies. Okay. Sorry about that. Pull myself together. Still kind of pulling myself together. I hope everybody is doing well. I will be perfectly candid with you. I'm dealing with a unexpected family crisis for the past 2 weeks that has drained me of all capacity for many things. Maybe we'll talk about it one day, maybe we won't, but we're here now. Hi, TikTok. We are here now, so that's what matters. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a minute since we've had a live, so it's all good. So yes, hit the like button, share this live. I apologize for this little 4-minute. Let me pull myself together. But I was trying to get to you all as quickly as I saw the news, which was about 20 minutes ago, come out that there has been a verdict in the Megan Thee Stallion lawsuit against Milagro Cooper, aka Milagro Grams. Child, we made it to the end. Okay, we made it to the end. Congratulate yourselves. You did that because we've been here since day one talking about this case and talking about all of the individuals who are either directly involved or appear to be, otherwise involved. And it's been an interesting journey. And quite frankly, I don't think it's over. I think she's going to sue additional people. And I think the verdict is instructive for her on how to do that. So let me break down the verdict because there are a lot of people saying, she won. She won. Asterisks. Okay. So there was an issue that came up, the question of whether or not Milagro Grams qualifies as media, okay? And there were a lot of filings back and forth about whether or not Milagro Grams is a journalist. She's not. Okay, there is a legal standard of journalist in case law and appellate court law. She does not meet those standards. So regardless, so the judge ruled initially before this went to trial that Milagro Grams does not qualify as a journalist. And then somehow that got rolled back during the trial. And the judge decided, I'm going to give the jury an opportunity to answer this question. And then I'll weigh in afterwards. And so the jury was asked to decide whether or not Milagro Grams is a member of the media. And the jury responded yes. And the judge said, I agree with the jury. That means that the claim for defamation is gone. Okay. A jury found that Milagro is liable for intentionally inflicting emotional distress and promoting a deep fake video. So even though the jury found that Milagro Grams had defamed Megan the Stallion, that is thrown out by the judge because of the decision that the jury came to, because of the separate decision that the jury came to and the judge concurred, that Milagro Grams is a member of the media. Now, that doesn't mean that members of the media can't be found to defame somebody. What it means is because she is considered a member of the media, there is a procedural step that Megan missed at the beginning of all of this. And because she missed that procedural step in dealing with somebody who is considered to be media, that count gets tossed out. So yes, the jury found her liable for defamation, for intentional infliction of emotional distress, and for intentionally promoting the fake video. But because of a technicality in how you engage members of the media in litigation or claims against them with regard to their reporting, because Megan did not take that step prior to filing her lawsuit, the defamation count is tossed out. So the damages in this case statutorily were $75,000, and the judge has knocked that down, I think, to like 57,000 or something like that. I'm not sure what happens with regards to attorney's fees. I'm pretty sure that is going to, and I could be completely wrong because sometimes I get cases jumbled in my mind, but to my recall at this point in time, without revealing the massive volume of information regarding this case, I do believe that was that the issue of attorney's fees and all of that is to be dealt with separately after trial. That Megan can file a motion for attorney's fees, and that can be, dealt with directly with the judge. But this was very clearly never about money. Megan is rich. Milagro is broke, and she will never be able to, pay a hefty damages amount. This was about doing what you need to do for yourself to secure your own mental peace and holding people accountable for their fuckery. That's what this is about. And I'll tell you, this morning when I remembered that, oh yeah, we're waiting for the jury to come back, mostly because I was scrolling on my computer for something else and I saw that I had already made this last week. So I saw it in the folder that I was looking in for something else, and I was like, oh shit, that's right. And then I started kind of like adding up the time that the jury had been deliberating, and I was thinking to myself, I'm not sure if this is going to, come to the outcome that everybody assumes it's going to come to. And I said that this whole time, I think some of Megan's lawyers really screwed up the beginning of this trial and, got into a pissing match with Milagro Grams and made it unnecessarily complicated in that way. And really gave Milagro a lot of room to do her level best to explain and humanize her behavior. And it could have easily been persuasive to a jury. It turns out that after, 2 days of deliberation, it was not persuasive to a jury. So Megan has won. Okay. Megan has won. And she gets to live the rest of her life knowing that she won, that she was wrong, that she was wronged, that a jury found that she was wronged, that it was intentional and malicious, that Milagro is a cuckold, puppet for Tory Lanez. And I think that she is going to take, I've said this 1,000 times, I think that she is going to take everything that she has learned and gathered through this lawsuit, and she's going to sue the shit out of DJ Academics and his ilk for the bullshit that they've been doing. Because if one jury has found that, yeah, there is a Peterson group. Yep, there is a coordinated effort. Yep, Milagro was a part of it. Yep, it was directed by Tory Lanez. Well, we already know that other people were a part of it. Other people should be held accountable too. And if Megan wants to spend her hard-earned money on lawyers, because she's going to spend more money than she's going to receive, $57,000 judgment is a drop in the bucket to what she's probably paid for attorneys just to go after Milagro. And I think she's going to sit back and carefully, deliberate on what are the next steps going to be. But when I say that this verdict is instructive of her, should she choose to sue other people, she knows that she will need to take that procedural step that she did not take with Milagro and just assume that anybody else who is, who has a platform, who's been spouting this shit that she wants to sue, she needs to consider them media and until and unless the court rules otherwise, and therefore procedurally treat them as such. And if she's not satisfied with the outcome of those procedural steps and they haven't corrected their behavior or their harms, then she can sue the fuck out of them too. And I hope she does. It's fuck DJ Academics. And fuck DJ Academics for comparing Megan Thee Stallion to the woman who lied on Emmett Till with, a caption on social media, protect black men. Nigga, you didn't even think you were a black man. So what the fuck are you talking about? You a hoe. A whole ass decrepit hoe. Another cuckold, mouthpiece, puppet for Tory Lanez. And just for the record, in case anybody forgot, fuck you forever. Clutching My Pearls 35 says she should have sent a cease and desist. And somebody else said she didn't need to in this case. Yes, she did. That's why the defamation claim is being tossed out. She did not take a preliminary action such as a cease and desist, a demand for retraction or correction. So yes, she did. That's the procedural step that she missed because her attorney's assumptions were that Milagro, and their argument throughout all of litigation and through trial, was that this broad is not a reporter. If you look at the legal standard of what a reporter is, she doesn't meet that threshold. So the caveat of, well, she's media. Okay. That's what the jury concluded. The judge said, I don't disagree. You should have taken a preliminary procedural step, such as a cease and desist, demand for retraction or correction. And because you did not do that, this count gets tossed. So this is something that if she's going to sue other people who have a platform, her attorneys should assume going in that these people are members of the media, that the court will consider them to be journalists, and she should send cease and desist, demand for retraction and correction. And if she is not satisfied with their behavior, she should sue the shit out of them. You're welcome. I can't answer this question. I don't know if there is one. And I didn't go doing any research. I just simply came to you all when I saw what the verdict was. So I don't know. I also don't know if that is appealable or not. That was my first thought. Is that appealable or not? I don't know. I'm just presenting you with what I do know for sure. Yeah. So if you look at, if you go back through the filings where Megan's attorneys are arguing pre-trial that Milagro Grams is not a journalist based on established case law that defines what a journalist is, the judge ruled in her favor and said, "You're right. She does not qualify." And then through trial, Milagros, lawyers did something, came up with some argument, and the judge said, "I'm going to punt this to the jury, and I'll make my ruling on the matter after the jury comes to a decision." I said this, a couple weeks ago when it came out during trial that the judge had decided, "I'm going to put this question to the jury and then I'll deal with it after the fact." I thought, well, that's really interesting. What is that going to look like? It looks like just what we saw today. The jury said this woman is a member of the media, and the judge said, "Okay, I don't disagree." So, you know, um, if there is a distinction between journalist and media, okay, the connection lies in where the protection's the same. If we assume that there is a distinct definition for journalist and a distinct definition for media in there somewhere, right, is a connection of similarity in case law that made the judge say there are protections afforded. We can just go with that assumption and be safe, whether or not there is or is not a distinction between the two in terms of definition. Thank you. That is not the message. That's not the message. That's not the message. The message is not, imagine the legal system once again sending the message that this stuff is okay to do to Black women. That's not the ruling. That's also not the impact of the ruling. The impact of the ruling is a clarification. I just want you to know I'm crashing out in my head right now. But that has nothing to do with you and absolutely everything to do with how exasperated I feel in general in my body. The message is not, it's okay to do this. Black women, y'all go forth, just say whatever the fuck you want. The message is that there are required legal procedural steps to taking a member of the media to court for defamation. That's it. That's it. There's no this does not equate to that. So let's not do that, because one does not mean the other. Now, if a jury had said across the board on all counts, there's no there, we would be having a different conversation about the humanity of Black women and what people don't understand about the harms caused to us and the lack of accountability for those harms. That's not what the court ruled, is it? That's not what the court ruled, is it? I would argue that she is a member of the media. Is she a journalist? No. Is she a member of the media? Yes. She is. The court ruled she is, so she is. It's that simple. I would agree. She is a member of the media. Is she a journalist? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Not in the slightest fucking bit. Not for one fucking second in hell. Is she a journalist? Is she a member of the media? Yeah, define media. I'm a member of the media. I tell you all the time, I'm not a journalist. When people say, we come here for your journalism, I'm not presenting journalistically to you all. I'm not doing that. And I'm quick to check people on calling me a journalist, because then that means that you all are saying DJ Academics is a journalist, because he also has a microphone and a screen and a camera. Have I been a journalist? Yes. I have been a journalist. But is that what I'm doing here on this platform? No. Am I presenting factual information? Yes. Factual analysis? Yes. Do I correct when I'm wrong? Yes. Those are just ethical standards that are drilled into me. I don't come here and present my opinion to you about a thing or about people as fact. I present facts, we analyze, and then I give you my opinion. But I also understand that my personal opinion doesn't mean a fucking thing when it comes to a fact. I also say that. Nobody's personal opinion means anything when it comes to a fact. That's why this country is in the fucking situation that it's in right now. And then there's like, what does publicly published mean, right? What does publicly published mean? Does it mean you're a Substack? Does it mean published in relationship to an established journalistic outlet? Does it mean, right? There's a whole caveat of bullet points and asterisks and footnotes beneath these things federally and then locally where you are to help answer this question. And in this situation, in this Florida case, the jury and the judge said she is a member of the media. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I explained it already. The judge didn't arbitrarily roll back the decision. It was challenged by Milagros' attorneys. That's it. Mimi Angel, this case is a learning moment for anyone who will be victim of the trash media commentators that exist online. Online bullying isn't okay, whether you're media or not, and they can be found liable. And they can be found liable if you have gone through the proper procedural steps. Because think about it. If a member of the media unknowingly presents this factual information in a report, okay? And they don't know that it is dysfactual information. You have to prove, if you sue them for defamation, that it was malicious. And they either did know or should have known that the information that they presented was false or defamatory. So you have an obligation to reach out to the person who published it or the publication that published it and say, hey, this information is inaccurate. You're going to need to correct the information that you're putting out, or you're going to need to retract, or you're going to need to publicly apologize, et cetera, et cetera. That's one of the reasons why Piers Morgan pissed his fucking pants, okay? Live for everybody to see with an apology to Jay-Z and Beyonce when they had that biscuit head on. Not Cougar. What's her name? I can't remember her name, but she's another one. She had Piers had her on. She talked a bunch of crazy nonsense. And then within 48 hours, you see him come on by himself, address the camera, apologize profusely. We didn't have access to this. We didn't know this. We did not reach out to either one of them for comment. So Piers and his team didn't do their due diligence to fact check what was Jaguar Wright. That's her name. What was being presented on his show. So their attorneys contacted him and said, motherfucker, we're going to sue the shit out of you if you don't fix your fucking face. And he knew exactly what that meant. That's why in that video, he looks scared. Because he knows he will be taken down to the ground. Piers Morgan knows his history. He knows what can be found out about him in discovery. He knows the incidents that he has had in inflaming shit online by just spewing nonsense or having people on his show to spew nonsense. All of that would come to the forefront if he was sued by Jay-Z and Beyonce. All of it. That was the procedural step that needed to be taken in order to sue the fuck out of them. They decided that they were satisfied with his pissing himself video and didn't sue, obviously, because they didn't sue. But if he had done that, done it passively, done it snarkily, done it and then followed up with much of the same rhetoric, they would have sued his ass the next day. And we'd be talking about that case today because it would be in litigation. Being considered media gives protections, but it also has more responsibilities. Bloggers have been put on notice with this judgment, with several. You can't just get up online and spew bullshit and assert it as fact. And that's what she did. She didn't go online and say, I think this. I think that, in my personal opinion. What she said was affirmatively, Megan perjured herself on the stand in Tory Lanez trial. She said it affirmatively. Followed it up with, I was there every day taking notes. Bitch has no integrity, so her notes mean nothing. But nevertheless, right? I was there every single day. So she is saying affirmatively, alleging affirmatively, she perjured herself. She lied on the stand. Nobody beat that drum louder than Milagro-Grams. Nobody. She didn't say, I don't think Meg was forthcoming with the jury on all of the events of that evening based on blah, blah, blah. No. She said she's a fucking liar. And then she said a bunch of other things to back that up, right? And everybody knows it. This is a conspiracy against Tory. The gun is missing. The gun is missing. because they don't want to let an innocent black man out of jail, and they know if the evidence is challenged, they're going to have to let him out. The gun is missing. The bullet fragments are missing. Missing. That was a reason why she had to make a post and say, I have to acknowledge, guys, that the gun is actually not missing out of evidence because the state attorney general, law enforcement, the prosecutor's office all went public and said, this biscuit asshole doesn't know what she's talking about. These things are in our possession. That's at the point that she was getting caught up in litigation, and then she was trying to backpedal. Okay, guys, so as you probably saw, the state of California came out and said they do have it, and I guess if they say they have it, then they have it. Ho, you are not okay. You are not okay. So the financial judgment, is pennies underneath Megan's couch. But for Milagro Grams, that's $57,000. Potentially, there's going to be some attorney's fees attached to that. That's a lot of money. She ain't got it. She ain't got it. So it will have an impact on her. Because judgment interest, baby. Judgment interest. Yes, they can. That's not what this means. This doesn't mean that they can't sue academics straight. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. They need to send him a demand for retraction and correction. They need to put in the utmost of specificity about it, and then they need to watch and see what he does. And if it does not rise to their standard of acceptability, then they sue the shit out of him. It's that easy. He's a minstrel, so he's going to keep doing what he's been doing. They'll have plenty of cause. Plenty. Because the only thing about this situation would be surprising is if all of these biscuit heads today shut the fuck up and never say Megan Thee Stallion's name again. Never talk about the Tory Lanez shooting again. Do you see that happening? No. Yeah, media is a medium in communication. So for people who are like, I don't consider her to be media. Well, okay. I don't consider her to be a journalist because she's not. She doesn't follow a single fucking journalistic standard, period. So the legal arguing about whether or not Milagro Grams is a journalist, the arguing amongst the parties, those things aren't happening in front of a jury, right? The question is simply put to the jury. So they don't necessarily know that one of their decisions is going to be thrown out based on one of their other decisions. Remember, the jury said Milagro is liable for defaming Megan Thee Stallion. And then they ruled that Milagro is media. Okay, one cancels out the other because of a procedural step that wasn't taken. But the jury said, yeah, defamation, intentional infliction of emotional harm, and promotion of a deep fake image. So it's as win as a win as Meg could get in this circumstance. It is as win of a win as Meg could get in this circumstance. All she needed was 1 out of 3. That's all she needed. Again, because I'm thinking of the future and anybody else who she decides that she wants to sue. Okay, well, I'm out of responses to you. Because again, that doesn't mean that. And that doesn't mean that. If a judge slapped you in the face with a $57,000 bill and you don't have a pot to piss in, would that deter you from the behavior that led to you getting that judgment? And then also having this be your reputation and a part of your legacy forever? People aren't deterred by the truth. And these people trade in audacity. That's all that they do. But to suggest that this verdict means, oh, it's do whatever the fuck you want to Megan, that's the verdict, and nobody's going to be deterred by any of this, and this is just a free pass. Anyway. If those people don't know that they have a target on their fucking foreheads, then they're dumb. Anybody who obstructed a deposition in the litigation of this situation has a target on their forehead. They've had a target on their forehead for as long as this case has been going on. Now, the problem is these hoes trade in audacity. And typically what people who trade in audacity do when things don't appear to be in their favor is they lean into the hit me, I dare you. Go ahead, hit me. Hit me. You ain't gonna do shit. You ain't gonna do shit. They paint it as a win and they act like they are fucking immune. And then they go and they act like an ass. They ratchet it up and then they get sued. And then they get sued. Yeah. This is what people who trade in audacity do. Right? They will focus on there's no defamation because you can't sue members of the media for defamation. Yes, you can. Number one. And number two, there are untold number of things that Megan can sue these people for. And personally, my opinion, I think it is extremely powerful for a jury to recognize this is a coordinated campaign of harassment that is designed to torture somebody and separate her from her mental peace. And that's not okay. That's not okay. Question in the chat. The question is, how quickly will Ack and or Adin's hubris bite them in the ass? How much we want to bet? A month? I mean, I feel like in 2020, in 2026, somebody's gonna get sued. I would be directing my attorneys to draft up the most thorough and comprehensive cease and desist and demand for retraction and correction ever drafted in the history of ever to send to these people. And, I could totally see at least one of them saying, "Oh, fuck that bitch. I'm not reading this." Okay. You've got DJ Academics in his deposition who is running around, telling the lawyers, "I'm not a journalist." That's why he wasn't protected in his deposition from the courts. The courts were like, "No, you're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. You have no shield to hide behind." When you are the one saying, "I only invoke that title when it's advantageous for me to do so. But no, I'm not a journalist." You said that under oath repeatedly with your full chest. So, okay. But cross all T's, dot all I's, just take the procedural step and watch what they do with it. And if it is not to your satisfaction, sue them. Very uncomplicated. Very uncomplicated. I usually refer to him as Livingston Allen, but a lot of people don't know that name. Just like I refer to Tory Lanez as Daystar Peterson. So I'm referring to him as DJ Academics just for the people, just so it's very clear for them, just so they don't go, "Who the fuck is she talking about?" I'm talking about that sorry ass hoe. That's who I'm talking about. Hi, TikTok. They never leave black women alone. You know, they never leave black women alone. Once invoke their ire for setting a boundary, they take their bald biscuit head ass hoe selves on the internet and just obsessively talk about you, even though they won't talk to you in the real world because they're bitch boys. Yeah, they're bitch boys. They make up corny ass, dumbass fucking songs that have absolutely no relevance to you whatsoever because they're bitch boys. And also because they need to glamp onto the name and image and voice and reputation of a black woman to find some fucking relevance. Okay, yep, I said that already. It didn't get dropped down to anything. It was decided to be the statute is 75 is the max. I said this already. The final judgment was around 57. This is our personal opinion versus what is legally decided. Our personal opinion and what is legally decided are not the same thing. Period. The end. Again, for anything that she wants to do in the future legally, this judgment is pivotal. This jury found that there has been a conspiracy, that people have been working in coordination and in concert with each other. And do you know why they came to that determination? Because these people went into their depositions and obstructed them in an attempt to cover up a coordinated effort to harass and harm a woman. So all this time that they thought they were being slick and hiding evidence from the jury of their past deeds, their current deeds throughout the litigation of this case were used to prove their past deeds. Imagine that. Niggas is dumb. It doesn't. Bridgerton White, I don't think being a member of the media should protect somebody who posts false, explicit videos and claims an absence of malice. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. That's not what happened today. Defamation was not thrown out because the media can say whatever the fuck it wants. Defamation was thrown out because Megan's attorneys did not take a preliminary step prior to filing this lawsuit. That's it. That's it. If she had done that, Milagro probably would have had to be hospitalized by the verdict and the judgment and the damages. It's not just take it down. Okay? It's a retraction and correction. It's a retraction and correction. You need to retract the information that you published, and just as forcefully as you published that information, you need to publish a correction with the same level of energy and access for people to be able to see. And because corrections are facts, when you present them, you need to assert them as such. If you just get on there and be like, so I guess legally what I gotta say is blah, 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 I was wrong about this, and apparently, according to this, this never happened, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, fuck that bitch. You didn't pass the test. You didn't pass the test of a retraction and correction. I think that she's gonna stay with the law firm that she has because they have thousands of lawyers. And I think that some of the lawyers will stay the same, and I think that some of the lawyers will change. I think that John O'Sullivan, unfortunately, his strategy for this case, I think, was terrible and could have cost Megan the case. Milagro Grams was the first to testify. He had her on the stand for 3 days, trying to get her to say something that she was never going to say. And in the course of that, the jury became wildly confused about what the fuck was going on. We know that because they interjected. Who the fuck is this? Who's that person? Whose name is this associated with? We got government names, we got nicknames, we got what is going on here? And it just gave Milagro an opportunity to spin her narrative, which could have been completely devastating. Completely devastating. So if there is a future lawsuit and there is a future trial, I would be stunned to see John O'Sullivan being the one to try it. I think he did great work throughout this case. We read his filings, we read transcripts where he is in the transcripts. So I was stunned the first couple days of trial because I was like, sir, what is happening here? What is happening here? You're not getting what it is that you really want her to say. The jury is confused. You're losing control of the narrative. You need to pivot quick, fast, in a hurry and get that broad off the stand. Because if you lose a jury outright, it's very hard to get them back. Very hard. But the law firm that she has under, retainer is chef's kiss. So, yeah, and there are lawyers there that have worked on stuff for Megan for years. So I think that they will stay. And I think that there could be some switcheroo. I really hope she does too. I really hope that she just rolls them up. Roll them up into one lawsuit and sue them all. Take your preliminary steps, and then when they prove that they're just doing it because, well, I guess technically I gotta do this, and then they keep spouting shit, sue them. I already know what Joe Budden's gonna say. Should we talk about the Meg Thee Stallion ruling, or I guess she sue everybody, so maybe we should just move on. That's how it's gonna start. That's how he's gonna introduce the topic on his podcast. Should we even talk about it? Or because I was just going off of what such and such done said. But since you want to be out here suing everybody, maybe we should just move on to the next topic. Because you don't have a fucking pot to piss in and nothing to say. You should shut the fuck up. Period. Tomato. But that's exactly how he's going to interject it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't even watch him. I do not watch his podcast. Clips, come across my timeline against my will. Exactly this. He just said he would have bought Call of Duty to shoot her. He should shut the fuck up. Put his naked ass in the game. Put his naked ass in the game. I'll buy Call of Duty. No problem. I thought it was a different video game, but I guess it was Call of Duty. Yeah. Okay, fine. Whatever video game it was, put him in the game. He has to be naked. We already have the visuals for that, for them to scan in, make him naked, make him decrepit, and make him a perpetrator. Yeah, do that. Do that. To take him out, it needs to be either a headshot or you got to be able to shoot him in the ass. Yeah. Yep, thanks. We talked about that 30 minutes ago. Yeah, his little barrel chest and bloat gut, 6 chins, and a neck beard that goes down to his chest. Put that in the video game. Game I already don't want to play. You ain't never lie. You ain't never lie. My son convinced me to get a Call of Duty game. I haven't got past the first 15 minutes of it. Matter of fact, I just took it off the PlayStation the other day because I had a Sherlock Holmes game to play instead. I was like, why is this Call of Duty here? And then I remembered, oh yeah, my fucking son, the gamer, was like, no, Mom, of all the Call of Duties, this is the one. I'm telling you, you will enjoy it. I'm telling you, you will da-da-da-da-da. I ain't got there yet. And actually, I think that he paid for it, but he downloaded it onto my PlayStation. I have a hard time thinking that I actually paid for that game now that I think about it. This is so wrong. This is so wrong. This is so wrong. How dare you besmirch Kermit the Frog? And also, I can't unsee it. Motivation Nation. They can just use Kermit the Frog's body for Joe. You know who they could use? Elon Musk's body for Joe. But he has to be naked, except for the socks and the sandals. Isn't that what we agreed on last time? Put Joe Budden in the game, naked, except for socks and sandals. All his ash and crust, 16 years, you know, how old is he? 44? Right. 44 years of never exfoliating his elbows and his knees. All of that needs to be in 4K. Shriveled little sausage, all of that. So you're going to need a sniper shot because you're going to have to find it first. Regular view won't do. Well, hello there. What the fuck is this? Whose ass is that? Whose ass is that? Speaking of, you got to be able to zoom in to see it. As you're coming up in the comments, I can't see what that is. It doesn't look like that. When I put you on screen, beloved, you're going to have to change that if you ever want to be put on screen again, because I'm going to have to go back through this video and take the time to edit that out, which is going to strip out the chat replay for everybody. You're going to have to change that. I'm so happy to have you here. Okay, I'm so happy to have you here. I can never put you on screen again. To whom do those cheeks belong? We got questions. If for anybody on TikTok who's like, what is going on? Somebody who is a valued new subscriber to my channel on YouTube has a profile picture that is ass cheeks, bare ass cheeks. I clicked their comment to put it on screen, and that's when I realized that the profile picture is bare ass cheeks. Also, clearly not Joe Budden's ass, because it was, I mean, I think it was a nice ass, but again, we need to know whose ass was it? Dookie plant. I mean, my God. Do we block you? Do we airlock you out? Did you bait me into that? You must have been doing your research to know, number one, I'm blind. I couldn't see that ass. I couldn't see it till I put it on screen. You said something nice and effusive, and oh, I'm so happy to be here. There were sweet little smiley and kissy emojis. I fell for the whole thing, and then I click on it. Ass everywhere. Matumbo's pinky. As a replay gang member, this affects me personally. Afro Butterfly said, I'm tapping out right here. I'm tapping out right here. Right here. Ass cheeks for all, I guess. God damn. No. Oh, God, I forgot y'all are super smart and witty. Kim Tillman videos. Ask me about my avatar. J Ray. I was just asking a question. Oh, God. That was not Madonna's ass. That's a goddamn lie. That was not Madonna's ass. Appalachian Hijabi. I love that name. Love it. An assassin. You guys are fucking. Oh my God. Oh. Karaoke and vodka over there fighting for her fucking life. If you want to put an ass, okay, as your profile picture, let it be Beyonce. Now that's an ass. The diaper sniper strikes again. Oh, God. Nah. He said peekaboo. Oh, my God. That was, wow. Whew. I don't even know what to say. I kind of wish we would have had that moment, like, shit, 45 minutes ago, because that spun me so hard. Oh, that spun me so hard. I am in real crash out territory in my life. In my real life, I'm in real crash out territory. And I really had to gird my loins for this live. And that's why there's been so many motherfuckers flying out of my mouth as I've been here talking to you all about this case. So I guess thank you. Too spiffy. The two-cheeked freak went on a wild streak. Wow. Build a comment based on ass. That's an ass take. Big Sean. Wow. Them cheeks had you laughing. They did, because so many, I mean, so unexpected. And then so many things went through my mind. Like, at first I was like, I'm just going to move on off of that. And then I was like, it's on screen. You can't just, you're going to have to address it. Everybody just thought it. And then also questions. I had so many questions. I didn't even see an answer to the question because the chat I know when I go and look at the analytics, this is going to be a point in the chat replay where the chat spiked off the chart. I don't even know if there was an answer to whose ass it was. It wasn't Madonna's ass. I can tell you that. No, that was not Madonna's ass. I don't even know if there was a question. I don't know if that is a legitimate subscriber who's really happy to be here. But baby, I know if you want to stay, you're going to have to get rid of that profile picture. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Terry J. Yes, and more than likely. I don't understand what your point is here. Man Butt Monday. I definitely wasn't ready for that. Child, I'm fighting for my fucking life in all ways possible right now. Oh, gosh. The deleting the text thing that won't have any impact on damages. That has an impact on the verdict. Megan got the ability to give specific directions to the jury, instructing them to make adverse inferences about Megan Thee Stallions and other people's, about Milagro Grams and other people's behavior during the course of litigation. That they should assume the 20,000 plus things that were deleted because, right, had they been handed over, they would have been evidence that would have strengthened Megan Thee Stallion's case. So that's not going to be anything that results in specific. And also she had to pay attorney's fees at the time, right? Those rulings were made at the time. So it may get added to the overall damages costs once those are decided, but in terms of statutory versus punitive, those things have already been addressed with regards to people's conduct during the litigation. I hope that answers your question. I have no idea what this means, Mr. Towns 90 says. That was that Hank Hill butt in that profile picture. I don't know. Oh, God. I don't know who Hank Hill is. Is it King of the Hill, Hank Hill? Am I making the correct connotation there? Otherwise, I don't know who you're talking about. I can honestly tell you all I've never watched it. But I guess at least I know enough about pop culture to know Hank Hill. Stature seems right. Well, that ass was not no ass. That ass was not no. There were some cakes back there, okay? Not just technical cheeks. There were some cakes back there. I saw, place to grab onto. Yes, there was shape to that ass. That was not a board. That was not a 2x4. There were some cakes back there. Oh, good Lord. Right, not an abundance of cake, but there was some cake back there. That was an ass. Nope. I was not impressed by the ass. I was impressed by the audacity of somebody using that as their profile picture. Baby, what the fuck are you doing on the internet? Rhetorical question. Rhetorical question. A little leftover carrot cake from Thanksgiving. Was it ass a 9? Go sit in the corner. Go sit in the corner. Oh, here we go. The audacity, the ass-dacity. Yeah, I don't want to see your bare naked ass on my screen unless you are Beyonce. Okay? That's it. Thanks. I have standards for the cakes I want to see. And that's a bar. That's a bar. Yeah, there is a time and a place. Call me old-fashioned. Call me old-fashioned. I don't want to see that. It's ridiculous. Okay, well, let me click on the news and see what else is going on. Megan Thee Stallion is happy. And that's that on that. Megan is happy with the verdict. She said she's ecstatic. She respects the jury and the decisions that they made in their deliberation. And a win is a motherfucking win. That's the latest news updates that I see is Megan leaving the courtroom. Ultimately saying that, yeah, she's pleased. Milagro has said that she's ecstatic. Excuse me. Let me see what she said. Oh, she's not ecstatic. I'm so sorry. Again, even with the glasses, baby, I'm blind. She's not ecstatic about the decision. She respects the jury and what they decided. Stallion, I'm just happy. Yeah, she's happy. Happy, satisfied with the verdict. I swear to God, this woman's gonna sue more people. So yes, Milagro Grams, I'm not ecstatic. Of course, you want things to go your way. I respect the jury and what they decided. And Megan Thee Stallion saying, I'm just happy. And that is according to the posts by Megan, the reporter. Credit where credit is due for all of her hard work on this. Not an astute sense of timing. Y'all are going to be thinking about ass puns for the rest of the day. Fene? Red? I don't know, but I did my best. Thank you for being here. Says, in other news, Sinners back in theaters soon. Yeah, carrying the studio through the fourth quarter of the year. When did that movie come out? Second quarter of the year? It's been a minute. They keep pushing that motherfucker. They're doing a whole nother like promotion thing for the movie. They're doing a whole nother promotion thing for the movie. It is carrying the debts of the studio through the fourth quarter of 2025. Also, conveniently reminding people at the end of the year when they make their votes, right, for various awards programs coming up in the first quarter of 2026. Don't forget Sinners. And yeah, don't forget Sinners. Is this not a chair? See it in IMAX 4D. See it in Smell-O-Vision. Wait, when did Sinners come out originally? Because somebody said it was around Halloween. Not Halloween this year. That's spooky season. I was born in spooky season. April. I was right. Second quarter of this year, April 18, 2025. It's going back into the theaters. In as the chat said, every way possible. IMAX, 3D, Smell-O-Vision, 4D when they spit shit at you. No. Yeah, they re-released it on Halloween, and now they're doing another re-release format-wise or something. I don't know, but it's getting a whole nother press push as well. It's not just one of those, see it again in theaters this holiday season. There are interviews, there are media packages being put together about it. It's pre-Oscar push combined with how much money did the studio not make on other projects this year, and what can Sinners help cover? Yeah, thank Black people once again. Thank Black people for carrying your asses. T-Mac, thank you for the support. Appreciate you. Can be a one. Thank you so much. I love it. I think Sinners is an incredible movie. See, I feel like my son and I went and saw a movie. I feel like it was what was that movie with what's that Marvel movie? I know I'm gonna get it wrong. Is it called The Thunderbolts? What was it? Anyway, we saw that movie and they had 4D. We did not see it in 4D. They had 4D theaters there. And I asked my son, I was like, what is that? And he was like, oh, it's the immersive, you know, smells and things coming at you. And I was like, what? People pay for that, huh? And I think in my, euphoria of just hanging out with my adult child, I may have said, we should come back and see a movie in 4D at some point in time. No, that was here in the chat. That was here in the chat where I was like, I know Fateless was one of the people where I was like, if you ever come to Seattle, this will be the thing that you do with abscess. We will go to a 4D movie and we will torture ourselves. I feel like you might be just humoring my old Black ass who can't remember the name of things and agreeing with me that it is the Thunderbolts, but I'll take it. At least I didn't say Thundercats. I know that's wrong. Yeah, the new Avengers. That's right. Okay. All right. The chat is like, you got it right. You got it right. Yay. Yay. Should I see Wicked for Good in 4DX? I was kinda well, I was gonna wait until this week, but, like I said, I'm dealing with a fucking catastrophe in the real world that is sucking everything out of me, and I can't sleep at night also, so I'm kind of screwed up in that way as well. I did rage scream this evening last night, in fact, drew a special bubble bath for it, and I haven't rage screamed in a solid 6 years. But I was like, to avoid the crash out, Imma need to get some of this out. Imma need to get some of this out. Yeah, drew a nice special bubble bath with a special potion, put on some wonderful music, and just waited because I knew it was coming, I could feel it in my body. Just kind of let my mind wander to the shit that and then I started rage screaming. I'm glad nobody lives next door right now. They were really great neighbors. They would have just texted me like, "Girl, you good? What's our safe word so that we know you're really good?" And that would have been fine, but it did feel good to not have to be concerned at all that I can just scream as loud as I want to, as loud as I want to. Anyway, back to my original question. Should I try and see it in 4X if I do try and see it in the theater at some point in time? I'm skeptical. Mhm. Okay, interesting. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Guttural, rageful screaming and slapping the wall of the bathtub. Not like this, like slapping it as hard as I could so it made a really loud, booming percussion in the bathroom. It only took 4 screams, and then I was like, "Okay, I think I'm done. Do I need to cry?" I tried. I tried, and then after about 10 minutes, I was like, I don't think I do. I don't think I do need to cry. I think I just really needed to just scream, and like I said, it's been a good solid 6 years since I have been so fucking undone and so stressed out that I have had to build me a safe little space and go in there and close the door and just scream at the top of my fucking lungs. And I will continue to do that as often as I need to get through this situation and also to not actually crash out in the real world. Because, baby, there are some people who deserve it right now. Deserve it right now. It's fascinating how, from one moment to the next, in the blink of an eye, your life can change. It's really incredible. Not, not, not fun at times. Sometimes it happens positively, sometimes it happens, negatively. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. We were doing our best, Tom. We're doing our best. Not right now. Not right now. Baby, if those tiles could talk, they'd have a lot of stories to tell, okay? Because but that wouldn't be the bathtub, to be perfectly honest with you. That would be the shower, which is in a separate space. It's very roomy in that shower. If those walls could talk, there'd be an adult warning on the label. For sure, for sure. No, I haven't had lunch. I haven't had breakfast. I barely had dinner last night. I only had dinner last night because I thought maybe if I have some alcohol, I will not wake up 15 minutes after I fall asleep. So I was like, in order for me to have alcohol, I'm going to need to eat. I ate. It was delicious. I had my little drinky drink. It was also delicious. I went to bed. I woke up 15 minutes later. Yeah. So I'm very stressed out. It's those things that let me know I'm very stressed out. Ooh, baby, I'd love to smack the shit out of some drums. I used to play the drums, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I used to play the drums long time ago. I have no desire to play the drums now, but I probably still would have rage screamed, right? I saw somebody else say, "My sister runs to deal with her stress." This isn't one of those kinds of situations, right? I have things that I do on a regular basis to help me stay in balance. I'm dealing with a situation right now that the ability to do that has been stripped from me. So I can't just take a jog and feel better. So let's talk about something else. What else do you want to talk about when it comes to what has been happening since the last time we saw each other? Don't try and fix it, okay? Don't try and fix it. That's not going to fix it. The only thing that will fix it is the issue being resolved. I can't do anything about that right now. So I just have to live in what the situation is. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's talk about something else. Marshall Irons chat. Did I imagine the story from a few days ago about Ray J being a complete piece of shit? Yes, I know that doesn't narrow it down. Yeah, Ray J pulled a gun on his child's mother live on air for everybody to see because he is a bitch boy. That man is disgusting. He's just disgusting. He is a disgusting, vile, decrepit man. This was on Thanksgiving, I believe. He was arrested. He later bonded out. It's a felony. He should go to prison. He is, to me, and has been for some time, especially when his rhetoric went from a slow drumbeat of his regular bullshit to ratcheting shit up on Kim Kardashian and her mother. And for anybody who's not familiar, I can't stand them hoes. Okay. I can't stand the Kardashians. But I'm very glad that they have sued Ray J. His audacity, his desperation, his resentfulness, like the world owes him fame and riches, is peak. And he knows no bounds. And I think that he is the ticking time bomb for something more violent and harmful to a woman or to himself. Because he is a D-list, that's generous, celebrity. D-list celebrity. No relevance whatsoever. We only talk about Ray J with regards to his audacity or his inappropriate behavior. And he is another one who has to leech on to a woman to find relevance. Because he is otherwise fucking decrepit and irrelevant. Fuck Ray J forever. Forever, ever. Somebody else says, piece of shit Hegseth versus Senator Mark Kelly. I can't repeat the things that I said about Pete Hegseth over the weekend. I can't repeat them. I can't repeat them. I see people saying on social media, Pete Hegseth is being investigated for war crimes. He is not being investigated for war crimes. As a matter of fact, Pete Hegseth isn't being investigated for any fucking thing. Nothing. Not currently. Okay? So Pete Hegseth is not being investigated for war crimes. War crimes are determined by one of two bodies. The military or the Hague. Okay? And while the United Nations have made comments about reporting and apparent instances of issues happening with regard to these boats, he's not being investigated for war crimes yet. He's not being investigated for any crime by the federal government or the armed services. He has been accused of, credibly accused of ordering secondary strike on at least one boat to ensure that everybody on the boat was dead. And if that reporting is true, that would be reason to investigate him for several things. Okay. But the baseline before we get to technical terms, like, well, is it a war crime or is it a crime against humanity or You know, is Gaza a genocide? It's murder. That's what it is. It's murder. It's extrajudicial murder. You cannot attack people based on belief alone. You don't get to order that they die when they are not a threat. And we need to be careful to not put the cart before the horse, because then people assume that the cart is before the horse. The cart is not before the horse. So people who like to conflate review, inquiry, the various bodies that are responsible for doing these things, they're excited because it's being talked about and because terminology is being tossed around. Is he being investigated for war crimes? No. Is he being investigated for crimes against humanity? No. Is he being criminally investigated for murder? No. He's not doing that. None of those things are happening to him. Okay? If Pete Hegseth were being investigated by murder in this country, the only entities that would do that, again, would be the military, or Pam Bondi. And guess who he went to check his work before he submitted the order to drop those bombs? Pam Bondi. She's going to prosecute him for what? Not a fucking thing. Nothing. Nothing. She's not going to prosecute Pete Hegseth for anything. They're getting ready to invade Venezuela illegally. So he's not being criminally investigated for anything. He's not going to be court-martialed, right? He's not going to be recalled and court-martialed. Nobody's going to do that. They're under his command. They're not going to do that. So Pete Hegseth is clear to murder as many people as he wants to while this administration is in office. He can drop as many bombs wherever he wants to, as long as this administration is in office. A whole ass process, and people just like to skip the process and go with their reasonable assumption of an outcome or a verdict. These things have to be proven in some kind of formal setting. And right now, nobody's going to investigate him. And here's the thing. It wouldn't matter if the Hague did investigate him. It wouldn't matter if they swore out an international warrant, because you know what this country does under this administration? It harbors people who right now have international warrants in their name instead of turning them over to the Hague. Benjamin Netanyahu is a classic example. They're justified international warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu for what he has done in Gaza. He's been in and out of this country at least 2 times as a guest of this administration. So it wouldn't matter if he you know what this administration would do if the Hague criminally investigated Pete Hegseth? It would sanction the Hague. It's already done it before. It has sanctioned the UN. It has sanctioned UN investigators who are investigating different things having to do with this administration and not having to do with this administration. So it would do the same thing, because this administration is hostile to the Hague. Jack Smith came from there. Right? So if the Hague did launch an actual criminal investigation into war crimes or crimes against humanity, what would this administration say? It writes itself. Their talking points write themselves. Fake news, they're biased, they're woke, it's a witch hunt. This is because of the Jack Smith situation. He was illegally appointed. They will take it down 10 different rabbit holes of nonsense and fuckery. It's murder. He's a murderer. And the reason why these things are happening is because Donald wants to kill people. To him, that is the ultimate show of strength, is the ability to kill someone and get away with it. That is the ultimate show of strength and power as far as he's concerned. And that's why he's floated the idea for years. His first term, when he would go to various entities and agencies and, can we just shoot him in the leg? Can we do this or do that? They were aghast. No, Mr. President, we can't do that. No, we cannot take live ammunition and just shoot BLM protesters in the street because you don't like the media coverage that they're getting. No, we cannot do that. All those people are gone. Those people are gone or leaving in this administration. Because they don't want to be complicit in what this administration is doing. So this going after Mark Kelly, which was your original question, but I felt like it was an opportunity to address some misinformation that is out there right now. This is par for the course, and do it. Do it. Go ahead and do it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's see how the systems and the scales balance this out. Let's see. We're in the midst of a total systems failure, and we need to know where exactly the systems are failing, not just generally, right? But with specificity. By what means and methods are they failing and or being weaponized? This is now one of these ways. We're going to recall this man so that we can court-martial him and bring him up on charges of what the fuck ever they said. Do it. Let's see what happens. Go ahead. Go ahead. I think we all need to know. I think Mark Kelly was Navy. I think we all need to know if the Navy is going to find Mark Kelly guilty of sedition by undermining morale. We all need to know if that's going to happen. They won't necessarily get theirs eventually, right? They won't necessarily. That's not a given. That is not a given that they will get theirs eventually. I don't believe in that at all. What's actually more likely to happen, right, is that the next administration is just going to try some We made it. Let's move forward. I actually think that at the point we get there, America is not going to be capable of moving forward. We're going to want a reconciliation with what the fuck just happened. We're going to require a reconciliation of what the fuck just happened before America can move forward. I think it will be a fight. I think it will be a fight and a battle. Let's just assume, for shits and gigs, even though we don't have a viable candidate, fuck that dude from California, both of them. Let's just assume that a Democrat wins the next presidential election. That person, based on nothing but the history of the presidency, oh, somebody flagged my live for misinformation on TikTok. That's funny. I'll have to go back and deal with that later. And whoever you are, fuck you. Anyway, what was I saying? I just got a big ass alert on my phone. It took my attention away. Oh, right. So based on the history of democracy in the United States of America, the next Democratic president is going to attempt to be the great uniter. And their assumption is going to be that we don't need a reckoning. We don't need anybody held accountable. Oh, my life is over. We just need to Oh, they sure did. They just suspended my live access from TikTok. Live access removed. For 3 days. I don't even fucking care. Fuck you. Anyway, yeah, point is, I don't think it will be possible. But right now they're in their typical, it's a two-party system. Both parties are heavily at fault, and both parties are completely bought into the two-party system and in replicating successes of the past. But in the future, we're going to be in a place we've never been in the history of this country. And the rules of engagement are going to be completely different. I crashed out on Cory Booker. This morning on TikTok, I posted a video like, I know this motherfucker is not talking about running for president, and that's why he got married. If you don't know, Cory Booker's married now. But I was like, motherfucker, you bet not waste our goddamn time running for president. You are part of the fucking problem. And if you don't know, we want your ass gone. So people feel that way about most people in Congress. If you are not showing that you are, number one, really fighting, and number two, prepared to hold people accountable when the time comes, nobody's interested in you running for shit. Not Congress, not president, not the water board, not a fucking thing. No, it started as soon as I started. I didn't get it for the titties or for anything else. I got it for I started talking about MAGA. So there you go. Who's surprised? I started talking about MAGA and they were like, "Oh no, you can't do that." So there were a couple things that came across like rapidly. You're presenting misinformation. No, I did not. Your live has been reported. I got a couple of those. So somebody decided that they had a bee in their bonnet, didn't like me anymore, and wanted to report me to the fucking TikTok police because they didn't like what I was saying. Just checking some docket alerts. But I don't really give a fuck about TikTok. I'm never going to figure TikTok out. I'm never going to blow up on TikTok. I'm never going to go viral on TikTok. People don't watch my videos. I don't care. I only go live on TikTok to keep up my my ability to get dumped into the algo. But as for a 3-day ban, I don't give a shit. I don't need to go live on TikTok. TikTok can suck my dick. That's how I feel. All the racist ass viewers on TikTok can also suck my dick. I'm talking both and, not one or the other. I'm talking both and. So I was talking about Venezuelan boat strikes, and then I also talked about Palestine because crimes against humanity, genocide, etc. So it was both and. It wasn't one or the other. I'm sorry if I was unclear and it sounded like I was confused, but I wasn't. Hugo Garcia, I say this with all the love, okay? All the love. As somebody who was Muslim during 9/11, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck about that rhetoric. And there is not a goddamn thing that is going to distract people from the Epstein files. Not a fucking thing. Nothing. Nothing. No, nothing. Quite literally, the more they do, the more people just say what? Release the files. Nobody gives a shit about their rhetoric. It's not going to work. Also, the rhetoric has been weakened on its own because now people are questioning some of the most popular accounts on social media that propagate these kinds of things because many of them are foreign assets. And now that that has been revealed, people are like, they're spun out on all of that. Baby, Sunday through Monday, okay? 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, 66 on the leap. It doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit. The anti-Mamdani content on social media is fucking laughable. It's fucking laughable. It's siloed. Those people are talking to themselves. They are an audience alone to themselves. And the rest of the world doesn't give a fuck. They look unhinged. They look unhinged. And nothing is going to distract people from those files. Nothing. Not Venezuela. Not Kelly. Not anything is going to distract people from those files because these things are not limited to what we are focused on in America. This is an international incident. where powerful people in multiple countries have been linked together and implicated. Therefore, the files have international consequence. International consequence. It's not just about us. The world wants the files because the world wants to know how this impacted them in their backyard with the political leaders or movers and shakers that impact their lives. Well, let's just knock out the topics. Let's just knock out the topics. Did APSA discuss the removal of Alina Habba as the U.S. Attorney for New Jersey? No, fuck her. No, fuck her. I did see the appeals court decision come out. I believe it was a 3-panel. I believe it was 3-panel. Came out and said, "Ho, who the fuck is you? You are not a U.S. attorney. You were appointed illegally. If you don't clear out that fucking desk, nobody is surprised. Nobody is surprised. And if there's grounds to appeal it to the Supreme Court, they gonna do that. And I wish the fuck they would. That's where I'm at with it, with pretty much everything. I wish the fuck you would. And I know that there are people who are like, but what if the Supreme Court says he has the power to appoint anybody? Let him. Let him. Let him go ahead and try and twist that logic out of over 100 years or 100 years of precedent or something like that. Let him try. Go for it. Knock yourselves out. You're corrupt. You have no fucking integrity. And I maintain what I said before. People at some point in time are going to go back to DC. And it's not going to, the Capitol building is not going to be the target unless Trump is running through there to get away from the White House. It's going to be the White House and it's going to be the Supreme Court. I'm not convinced the so-called progressive justices on the court. It would not surprise me. Let me say this. It would not surprise me in the slightest bit that if at some point in time the Supreme Court makes a ruling that is so fucking corrupt and backwards on the law that one of the progressive judges just stands up and says, "I fucking had it. I'm done. There's no integrity in this body because you must be fucking kidding me." And it would be something like that. It would be something like appointments clause and you know, the conservative justices just saying, "Yeah, Trump can do that." Or, "Oh, you know, 90 years of precedent law that we've ruled on somehow now has been misinterpreted, and we're going to correct that interpretation for clarity's sake." It would not surprise me at all if a progressive just said, "Fuck it. I can't do this anymore. I'm fucking out. I'm fucking out." And I wouldn't be mad if they did that. I'd actually have more respect for them because I lost all manner of support for the Supreme Court a while ago. Not in this administration, a while ago. Okay. Um, and yeah, it would definitely make me feel like they had more integrity. And I know that there would be people who would be like, "Oh my God, but that means that Trump gets to appoint another conservative." So fucking what? So fucking what? The rulings are already coming down that are corrupt, that are bullshit interpretations of the law. They're just going to keep doing that. It doesn't matter if there's a progressive judge there or not. Doesn't matter that they're there. Well, they write the dissenting view, no power in that. That's just let the record reflect that we objected and we don't agree with the majority of this body making this ruling. Good the fuck for you. It has no power. It means nothing. They're literally just there keeping the institution going, and the institution is corrupt. The Supreme Court needs to fall. It needs to fall. There need to be term limits for being on the Supreme Court, just like there need to be term limits for everybody in Congress or DC. Well, child labor laws are already less stringent. So that's already happening. Somebody asked ABSA, is it accurate that the Department of Education is being transferred to the Department of Labor and child labor laws are going to be less stringent? So they've already started working on the child labor law thing, both at the federal level and in conservative states, right? They've already started fucking with that because they're fucking with worker protections overall. So all of those things are in play. What they are doing, to my understanding, is that they are carving up the existing divisions within the Department of Education and taking those pieces and putting them into different departments. And the Department of Labor is one of those. Yes. The Department of Labor is one of those. This is a rhetorical question that I can't ask. I can't answer. I can't answer that. Bless your heart. I wouldn't say that I'm in a mood. I'm in an impacted state right now. So I appreciate your grace and your understanding. I'm not just in a bad mood. And I understand that it may come across that way to people because I'm not willing to sit here and break down and sob over what is happening and expose my trauma so that other people who are already doing malicious shit to me on the internet can just do more malicious shit to me on the internet. But separate from that, having nothing to do with that, not being caused by that at all, the only thing that I will say to the chat is that for the past 2 weeks, I have been dealing with a devastating, fucked up personal situation that is a crisis that has zapped all of my attention and focus, and that um, it's traumatizing. Okay, it's traumatizing, and I'm doing my best, but I'm not in a bad mood. I'm in an impacted state, doing my level best. Yes, dissolving the funds, but it's not just about money with the Department of Education, it's about function, right? It's not just about money. But yes, so I guess as a side impact, yeah, but the the initial, right, focus of it is um the functions. Not just the money, but the functions. There was something else that came up in my mind that I wanted to talk to you all about that has happened out here in the world, and now I can't remember what it was. And I almost said, don't let me forget that I want to talk about, and then I fucking forgot what it was. Boo hiss. I forgot. Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate you. Dear God, no. Dear God, no. What about it? I ain't thought about that in... I ain't thought about that since the last time we talked about it here. Did it get a date? Did it get a new date? Is it supposed to come out this year? I already talked about this. I can't remember. You asking an old Black woman, was it politics or was it entertainment? I can't remember. I can't remember. It'll come to me 5 minutes after this live ends. That's when it'll come to me. I can't remember what it was. It's all good, you know? It's all good. It's just part of being old and Black, baby. We forget all the things. We forget all the things, the names, the places, that's why I was like, "What's the name of that movie?" I think I remember it, but I'm not convinced. I might be about to say, "Oh, now I remember." Okay, now I remember. Okay, so the Diddy series comes out tomorrow, right? No judgment if you're gonna watch it. I don't care. I'll probably watch at least some reactions about it, and I will watch the clips that come across my feed. So to that point, when we talked about this early last week, or whenever it was that we last saw each other, when we talked about this, I said, because I think it was like a week, exactly a week before. This is coming out tomorrow, I believe. And I said, I think that the short turnaround from announcement to release has to do with Netflix strategically positioning this so there is no time for Diddy to sue or to go to court for some kind of emergency injunction. And I also pointed out that the teaser from last week had nothing in it. It was just, and it was a 10-second voiceover, no imagery really. This is coming in a week. So I said, this short turnaround is strategic. And they are doing this short turnaround to prevent Diddy from being able to go into court for something. And a lot of people said, you can do that. You can try. And yeah, you can do that. You can try. You can try. You can file a motion for an emergency injunction and try. And now, as of today, as far as I'm concerned, my theory was proven right because now they have released a trailer. And I clocked immediately what the lawsuit would be over. Did anybody see the trailer that came out today? And does anybody have a guess on what in that trailer Diddy would argue would be grounds for a lawsuit and a potential emergency injunction to prevent it from being released? Any guesses? And I have a real life and real shit happens. So thank you. No. Good guess. No. If anybody who is not opposed, because I know there are some people who are like, I don't want to see shit on shit having to do with this man. If you're not opposed to seeing the trailer, go watch it. I'll wait. Go to Netflix on YouTube, search, look for the trailer that they dropped today. I don't know if it's on YouTube. I know it's on social media. Let me triple check. It is. It's exactly 1 minute. It was posted 8 hours ago on Netflix's main page. So for anybody who's like, I'm not opposed, I'm curious, and you want to participate in this pop quiz, I'm going to wait 1 minute starting now. I know, I was just thinking this, but the way they would gank my ass off of YouTube so fast. When I tell you what it is, some of you are going to be like, no, the fuck he didn't. And you might be tempted to go and watch it. Just so you're clear, just so we're clear. It's not graphic, okay? It's not anything like that. But I clocked it immediately. My jaw hit the fucking floor. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. That's not in the trailer from this morning. I'm waiting for Goldie Vox to come back. Okay. All right. Did you notice that there is a film crew with Diddy before he was arrested? Did you notice that there appear to be people filming him behind closed doors when he's talking to his lawyers, when he's in a vehicle? Did you happen to notice? How did they get that footage? Rhetorical question. Did you happen to notice that while he is being investigated by the feds, he appears to be being video recorded behind closed doors when he's with his team, when he's with his friends, when he's with his family, when he's talking to his lawyers on the phone? He is being video recorded the whole time. It looks a little bit differently now, doesn't it? When I first saw the trailer, I thought it was a secret recording because some of the footage looks like somebody had a button cam. That's how it comes across. It comes across as like a button cam on their clothes. But upon further review, Diddy had a film crew with him. And 50 Cent has that footage. That's number one. Number two is what that footage shows. He is openly scheming. He's openly scheming. He's openly admitting that many of the things that he's doing at the time in public are because of the pending indictment and him trying to sway the jury pool. And then there is a point in the trailer. This is where people are going to be like, you're fucking lying. Hand to Blue Ivy's edges. I'm not lying. They show Diddy go to a thing, to several places where he's accessible to the public. He's shaking hands, kissing babies, signing autographs type shit. Right? When he gets back in the SUV, he says, ugh, I need some hand sanitizer. This is the kind of stuff I got to do so that I can win. Then he says, all these people out there that I got to touch and hug, these are fans. These are admirers coming up to him on the street, shaking his hand, taking a photo, this, that, and the other. He's like, I need a bath. Good for you, beautiful. That's what we do here. You're in good company. I need some hand sanitizer. Now, hand sanitizer, I'm going to say that's fine. That's totally, I'd be the same way. I'd be the same way. And I will get in the car and be like, where's the hand sanitizer? But my tone is going to be completely different. I do that after I've seen family, after I've been anywhere. Where's the hand sanitizer? If there have been sticky babies touching me, where the hand sanitizer? These babies love me, but they sticky, child. They sticky. Hand sanitizer. If I were dealing with people in a public setting, I wouldn't be like, ugh, people coming up to me, touching me, talking to me. Oh my God, shaking my hand. That would not be because I would be fucking humbled and, probably a little bit embarrassed to even be recognized to that degree. That would be so foreign to me. But I've definitely been in situations where I got to work a room. Shake hands, take photos, speak to people, arms around, etc., etc. I'm making a beeline to wash my hands. And the only reason I'm doing that is for my hygiene. I'm not going to assume about other people's hygiene. I'm going to do that for my hygiene. Me hygiene. But when he takes it to the point of, I feel like I need a bath, having to be around these people. Now, certainly, that would not have been in the final cut of whatever it was that Diddy was going to release that led him to having cameras follow him around everywhere. But obviously, 50 Cent felt like, nah, this is valuable footage. We're going to make sure that we include it. The point is that if you go and check the news right now about this documentary, you know what Diddy's lawyers are screaming about? That's right. Stolen footage. They're suing somebody. They're definitely going to sue Netflix. They're going to sue whoever was recording him, because there are a couple shots in there where it's not hard, whether shit was on a button cam or somebody's actually there as a part of a production company or as a part of his team, and it is your job to record what is going on. He's going to sue your ass. He knows exactly who you are, because in the hotel room in particular, when Diddy's on the phone with his lawyers talking about, we need to find people who are, deal in the dirtiest of ways to help me win. There's only a couple people in that hotel room with him. And the person who is recording him is 3 feet from his face. So he knows who it was. He knows who it was. No, I think that Diddy is delusional. I think that Diddy is delusional, and I think that he thought he was going to be completely vindicated and that he would be able to put out and produce his own woe is me documentary about his journey through this situation. And in fact, now that we know that he was pushing to get out the day that he was convicted, now that we know that his lawyers were arguing, Your Honor, he basically served a whole sentence. You should just let him go. Right? Now that we know all of that, we know that Diddy thought that he was going to get out of jail, if not immediately within 4 months of his conviction. That's the point of time. Remember when I was saying, who do y'all think, this is a long time ago, but there was a point in time where I was saying to y'all, so who do we think is going to do the sit down interview with Diddy? Because at some point in time, that's just part of the arc, right? That's going to happen. That's part of the narrative arc and the redemption arc is somebody gets that first sit down interview and it's billed as the thing. And he's not going to let, let's say it's Robin Roberts, just for the fuck of it, because that's clearest in my mind because she was talking to 50 Cent this morning. Let's say Robin Roberts is the one to sit down and do the first interview with Diddy. That's ABC. They're going to produce a whole hour on it. And they're going to be responsible for the contents of it. But if you have somebody who is the focus of the thing, who is the one holding exclusive footage, that person has leverage for who gets their story, whether it's a reporter or an outlet or a streaming service. So he was clearly planning to produce something later because he thought he was going to get out relatively quickly. And this was going to be a part of his woe is me redemption arc narrative, but edited by him and his team. Well, this is not edited by you and your team. Somebody sold it or gave it to either 50's production company or one of the other 2 production companies working on this series. And they decided, fuck it, we're going to run with it. And Netflix also decided, go ahead and do that, which is wild to me. Which suggests to me that it wasn't necessarily a formal production team that was following him around. It suggests to me that it was somebody close to him, but not under contract for what they were filming. Because Diddy's lawyers say this is stolen footage. Well, it's only stolen if ownership of it is pre-established in writing. And if this was just the homie following you around because you wanted somebody to record you, the chances that this shit is under contract of exclusive rights and usage, I'm going to say slim to none. Because it's Diddy, I'm going to say slim to none. Because that's what Netflix is going to want to know. Okay, where's your agreement for Diddy for being the videographer? There was none. You swear under penalty of perjury and us suing your ass for $50 million that there is no agreement between you and Diddy for you capturing this footage. None. Well, whose camera did you use? Mine. Like those are, and now I'm spitballing here, right? But those are the kinds of behind the scenes conversations when Netflix realizes you have footage of Diddy that was taken consensually by somebody in Diddy's orbit. Taken consensually. I haven't read the articles yet, but it doesn't say secret footage. It says stolen. So you knew you were being recorded. You intended to use it for something. And now it's wound up in your enemy's hands. Is crazy. And it airs tomorrow. No, because they're in it. So it's not. They're in it. It wasn't them. The fuck if I know? The fuck if I know? No. No, I don't believe that that's the case either. Furry B Production says, I'm pretty sure Diddy probably stopped paying the production company and 50 swooped in and picked up the tab, meaning that the footage is his. That's an oversimplification, and I don't think that's the circumstance. I just don't think that's the circumstance. But I do think we're going to find out what the exact circumstance is of this footage. Because I think he's going to sue. I think he's going to sue. I think he is probably fucking livid knowing that this has happened. But there was nothing more suspect and nothing signaled to me more something is going on than Netflix announcing and dropping the teaser 1 week before the shit goes to air. You're trying to avoid a lawsuit for something. You're intentionally not showing what is in this thing. I never thought that once we saw what was in it, that would include footage taken by somebody in Diddy's circle. I never thought, from when this was all happening, I never thought we would see that. I never thought that we would see that. Never. Never. I thought potentially it would include like victims that we've never heard of before or instances that had never been publicly reported before. But I did not think that that when I tell you my jaw hit the fucking floor when that first shot pops up in the hotel, I think, and he's very clearly talking to his lawyers. He's very clearly talking about we need a better scheme with stronger scoundrels. It's not set up like there's a camera set in a still position in the corner. There's lighting. It's a professional production. No, like I said, the initial kind of clip that they show in the trailer of this footage looks like it's a button cam or somebody just holding a phone like right down here as he's sitting down, hunched over, a little hotel table talking. And then they like show him getting dressed in the hotel room. And I'm like, that's the hotel room. That's the hotel where he got arrested. What the fuck is going on? And I watched through and I immediately ran it back. I was like, this looks like somebody got footage. And for me, it was that crystal clear. That's why they waited so long to announce it. And that's why they only dropped a teaser trailer. Because once they revealed what they had, they were going to have to tango with him legally. Now, he still could try an emergency injunction and try and have it taken down after the fact. He could definitely still try that. But overall, he's definitely going to sue several corporations and people over this series, which I think we all knew was going to happen kind of regardless. But we know why. We already know why off top he's going to sue. That footage. that footage. And just again to see him, feel like I need to just wash my hands. I mean, he said everything but the peasants are disgusting. He said everything but. Do they have scurvy? He said everything but do they have scurvy? Yeah. It is 50's version of surviving Diddy. It is. I don't know. I don't know. But I know that we are going to find out. He cannot make us forget what we have seen. And already the trailer makes him look horrible. It makes him look horrible today, recently. Not because of some shit that happened in a hotel in 2016. Not because of something that happened in 2012. Not a couple months ago or a year ago. This nigga was like, "Oh, the peasants. Oh my God, if I have to shake the hand of another peasant, I swear to God." And then he's like, "But this is what I gotta do. This is what I gotta do to defend myself, to protect myself." Oh, you mean fuck with the jury pool? Because where do you think he was? The Bronx. I know he is fucking livid. Livid. Livid, 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 livid. And if you think Diddy can't get access to that goddamn trailer in prison, he can get access to that goddamn trailer in prison. He done seen it. He done seen it. And I know I just can't even imagine. Can't imagine. I've said this before, but this moment was the moment that confirmed for me that Diddy was an abuser when he changed his name to Love. For me, I was like, I don't actually need any other evidence. And his public statements about why he changed his name. Because it's all love. I'm all love. And if you gonna address me, you gonna call me love. I was like, abuser. That's some shit a gaslighting abuser does. That's not normal behavior. That's manipulative behavior. And it's targeted manipulation. And it's sick in that context. It's sick. Definitely. The devil takes on so many names. So many names. Allah had 99 attributes. The devil, I don't even know because I haven't looked. I own the book, The 99 Attributes of Allah. I've never looked for its counterpart. I've never looked for its counterpart, The 99 Attributes of Satan. I've never looked for that, but I'm sure it exists. I'm sure it exists. What? I'm serious. I'm serious. Ugh. Because it didn't really stick. This is the other thing, right? Nobody ever really converted over to just referring to him as Love because nobody knows who the fuck that is. So they would say Puff Daddy or Sean Combs, who recently changed his name to Love. It didn't stick as a public persona. And that for me was another indicator that this this is not about that. That's not his motivation for it. His motivation is much more personal and close to home as to why he has made this change. No, don't nobody know who the fuck Love is. Oh gosh, thank you. Yeah, so but that trailer dropped my jaw. Dropped my jaw. I said, "Oh Jesus. They're not playing games. They're not playing games." So, I wonder how long it'll take for the lawsuit to be filed. I think it's distinctly possible it could be filed before the end of the week. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding, especially if he wants to try and take some emergency action on the grounds that he owned the footage used and that it has been, used illegally. Netflix knew or should have known that it actually is under contractual ownership. Contractual ownership. That is what he would have to prove for a judge to say. I mean, he'd have to prove a lot of things. The bar is high for a judge to say, you're going to have to take down the content entirely. The bar is very high for that. But if anybody gonna try it, it gonna be him. It gonna be him. So if he really feels like he's got his leg to stand on, and they really feel like their public statement is it's stolen footage. Well, let's see it on the docket then. Let's see it on the docket. Southern District of New York. That's where this all happened. Let's see it. If it's not on the docket, then no, it wasn't. You had a homie who you probably weren't paying. You know who is paying? You know who's been paying for shit for the last decade about your crusty ass? Another crusty motherfucker who actually doesn't give a fuck about black women, but hates your ass enough to compile information about you over the last decade, put it into a documentary series, sell it to Netflix for untold millions of dollars, and then humiliate the shit out of you in front of everybody. So yeah. Also really glad that I just recognized that this is not my vanilla musk. This is catnip. uh yeah, I do. I do. I do. I do think he can be humiliated. And humiliation isn't just about being shameful about your own actions, right? Being humiliated is when somebody checkmates your ass and you didn't even fucking know. And the day you find out is when the literal planet finds out. Oh, nigga, you got played. You got played. You got played. When I tell y'all I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best, and I promise you that I do have a vanilla musk that is very similar in size, and I just knew that that is what I have been fighting to get the wrapper off of. Oh, I still didn't even get the whole wrapper off of it. God damn it. For the last 10 minutes, and I was really about to spray myself with it right here on camera, and then I looked down and was like, "Wait a minute, that's not the yellow label that I remember for the vanilla honey musk, you know, little spritzer that I got upon closer inspection." Baby, this is catnip mist. I'm already popular enough with the pussies in the neighborhood. I don't need any help in that area. I said what I said. I said what I said. Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna hold you. You know, a week ago, I was like, I am not interested in this shit. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm curious now. I'm curious now. I don't give a fuck what the jury says. I'm starving right now. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. I don't care what the jury, the two jury people say. I don't care. But shit like this, like, oh, you had a camera on you and somebody else has the footage and they're publishing it. I'm very curious. So I'm definitely not prepared yet to commit giving Netflix money that they don't fucking deserve. But I did make it clear to you all that in December I would be getting back on Netflix so I could watch a couple things through December and January and the end of Stranger Things and all of that. So at the very least, I will look for very detailed breakdowns of this series, and I will continue to, watch the clips selectively as they come across my feed to determine whether or not I'm actually going to watch the whole thing. But we've been hearing about this docuseries for some time now, and there has been no point in time where I have been like, I'm gonna watch that until this morning when I saw the full trailer and the footage of him. The hell? What the fuck is going on? For real, for real. Okay. Are you feeling me? Musical Curiosity says, "I'm super curious now. I didn't care, but this trailer, baby, it flipped me like a hoe cake." I was like, "Wait, what? What?" So, we shall see. Yeah. Yeah. Again, it doesn't look some of the footage looks extremely unprofessional and not necessarily like it was done by a professional production company that would be setting lights, etc. But he clearly had somebody with him on multiple occasions who was recording him. And let me see if I can expound on their "this shit is stolen." And you all know exactly where I'm gonna go to look for that statement. I'm scrolling several hours ago, so I've never heard of Poor Stacy, a rapper. I'm so sick and tired of news coverage about Bill Belichick and his fucking girlfriend. People need to get the fuck over it. I can't believe people think that shit is fucking news. Okay, I see something on TMZ about 50 Cent sitting down with Robin Roberts. I don't see anything yet. I'm still scrolling on TMZ. Oh, let me look elsewhere. I swear to God, if I get a fucking join our newsletter, read this article pop up, I might crash out. Okay, so stolen footage that was never authorized for release, which means he knew he was being recorded. The producers and the director of the documentary have said it came to us. We obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights. We moved heaven and earth to keep the filmmaker's identity confidential. That's not possible. One of the things about Sean Combs is that he's always filming himself, and it's been an obsession throughout the decades. We also reached out to Sean Combs' legal team for an interview and comment multiple times, but did not hear back. You know, one of the things that I thought was really crazy in my research about Sean Combs when we were covering the litigation, and then even in the video that he had produced for sentencing, is that he had a film crew following him around when Kim died. That is weird to me. And I'm not getting into the conspiracy of he killed her, he did it, save that shit. I don't want to fucking hear it. It's just weird to me that you think that it is appropriate to have a film crew with you all the fucking time, no matter what the fuck is going on. And it is not appropriate. Period. Okay. Okay. So, really? Page crash? Pearl clutch. Let me try again. The website crashed. So, Diddy's camp calls it a shameful hit piece, accusing Netflix of using stolen footage that was never authorized for release. They say that Sean Combs has been amassing footage since he was 19 to tell his own story in his own way, but Netflix is using his words out of context. "50 Cent is a longtime adversary with a personal vendetta, blah, 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 blah. Staggering that Netflix handed creative control to him." Well, actually, what happened is he made the documentary and then he sold it to Netflix. So, okay, here's the whole statement. Here's the whole statement. Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece. Today, GMA teaser confirms that Netflix relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. As Netflix and CEO Ted Sarandos know, Mr. Combs has been amassing footage since he was 19 to tell his own story in his own way. It is fundamentally unfair and illegal for Netflix to misappropriate that work. Netflix is plainly desperate to sensationalize every minute of Mr. Combs' life without regard for truth, in order to capitalize on a never-ending media frenzy. If Netflix cared about the truth or about Mr. Combs' legal rights, it would not be ripping private footage out of context, including conversations with his lawyers that were never intended for public viewing. No rights in that material were ever transferred to Netflix or any third party. It is equally staggering that Netflix handed creative control of Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, a longtime adversary with a personal vendetta, who has spent too much time slandering Mr. Combs. Beyond the slander, we'll sue him then. Beyond the legal issues, this is a personal breach of trust. Mr. Combs has long respected CEO of Netflix and admired the legacy of somebody else at Netflix. For Netflix to give his life story to someone who has publicly attacked him for decades feels like an unnecessary and deeply personal affront. At minimum, he expected fairness from people he respected. This egotistical hoe ass nigga. Told you. Told you. Now, Mr. Combs, did you provide the camera for which this footage was taken? That's the next question. If you want to talk about ownership, was there a contract? Was there something written down? Was there an agreement? That's the only way you're going to be able to challenge it, sir. Told you. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is nothing but just ego. Ego, ego, ego. I respected you. Ted Sarandos and Clarence Avant at Netflix. First of all, did they know that they had a personal, respectful relationship with you, Mr. Combs? Were these men at Netflix aware of that? I doubt it. At the very least, he expected some respect from people he deeply admired. I don't give a fuck if you admire me or not. If you are a fuckhead, I'm gonna tell everybody. And if you have the nerve to jump up and say, I admired you, well, what'd you admire me for? Being a truth teller. Well, isn't that ironic? And now you don't admire me. Why? Admire me? Why? Get the fuck out of here. Boy, what? The fuck? I'm saying, the fuck kind of statement is that? I'm sure we will be back to talk about this again this week because he's going to sue. He's going to sue. He's going to sue. They're drafting up their demand to Netflix right now to remove the stolen footage. Netflix is going to say no, and then they're going to sue him. The fuck is texting me right now? Because I know I turned off notifications. Who broke through? Absa said, do not fucking bother me today. Okay? Baby, we gonna find out. We gonna find out, because you just admitted that you consented to being recorded, so that's not legal grounds, because you just admitted that the footage was taken consensually. So what's your other argument? You weren't recorded in secret. That's not your argument. You better prove ownership, buddy. You better prove it. I don't know if he can prove it. And also funny to me that the directors, we took painstaking steps to make sure that the identity of the person taking the footage was made public. Set the timer. Watch now. That shit's gonna become public. He knows who recorded him. The end. It's not like these were bugs, or these are not secret recordings. So for them to say we took painstaking efforts, you didn't take painstaking efforts. You edited around that person talking, or that person being on camera, maybe filmed by somebody else. That's just editing. That's just editing. You can't hide that person's identity, because the person who was being recorded knows who was recording him. He's going to sue that person. He's going to sue the production companies, and he's going to sue Netflix. Basic math. And then we're all going to know who it was, who did it, who he had with him willingly recording him. We're all going to know who it was. Baby, they've been doing this forever. This is the problem with people rushing to get something out. This is their initial statement. And that's why, initial statements can be informative in this way, right? You knew you were being recorded. You were being recorded by somebody that you knew. It's not footage secretly taken of you. Stolen how? Unauthorized release, what does that mean? Contractually and therefore legally. I think that he is assigning very strong terminology to the situation on purpose. But if he really wants to go there, then he's going to have to file a lawsuit, and then we're going to find out a lot. We're going to find out a lot. That's not what the people said who made the documentary series. They obtained the footage, and they took every painstaking effort possible to protect the identity of the person who took it. The footage. So it's not the Sony hack. It's not that. And Netflix would not have published that. That's a federal crime. Netflix would not have published that. He's such a disgusting man. He's such a disgusting man. 50 Cent is a disgusting, manipulative man, for sure. You know, putting together a statement and being somebody who is who has professional knowledge of PR and how to make a public statement, they actually have a lot in common. And you don't need to be an attorney or, have an intimate knowledge of the law to release a public statement about a legal situation. Not in the slightest bit. The only thing that you need to think about is, what are we saying in our words? What are we marrying ourselves to in this statement? And where do we need to be more general to leave us room for our own narrative in the future? You could apply that to PR. You could apply that to the legal arena as well. Because once you say it, once you write it, you're locked in to that. And if you contradict yourself in the future, you better have a damn good reason that is believable to the audience and doesn't fuck with your credibility. So that's just thinking about, what am I saddling myself with in this statement? And is there anybody around me who is not a fucking brown nosing yes man who can say, stop, we need to counter argument this statement here in this room with just us to find these weaknesses, adjust for them, and then release a statement. But when you have somebody who is privileged and angry and wants something out as soon as possible, that's where you're going to make mistakes. It's in the rush to put something out and not going through the due diligence of making sure that you are not fucking yourself over in the future by what you say today. So we shall see what happens. I have no doubt that it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting in its own right. It's going to be interesting because, wow, that was a doozy. I really didn't expect that. I really did not expect. Here's the footage. That was shocking. So, all right, y'all. Well, we've been here for about 3 hours. It's lovely to see you all. Thank you for your grace with me today. I really appreciate it. And I needed it. I needed it. So I really appreciate all of you for that, and for your support of me and the channel and the cats. I know where your priorities lie, if we're honest. I'm certain that I will, at least I'm certain that I hope to see you again this week. But if I don't, I hope that you have a wonderful week. And I will see you soon. Yeah, I will see you soon. Protect your peace. Much love. See you soon.